Alright, so this is my completed mock-up. Really happy with it. It only took me about a day, which was really nice. So starting on the construction, we've got our waist tape here, which I sewed in the ditch. And I left enough seam allowance for my boning channels. I've got the smaller bones, and actually the bones were probably the toughest part of this. So for things that I need to improve on right away here, I need to leave more space for my bones. Some of them I really had to squeeze in there, and my sewing needs to be a little straighter. Got a couple wavy lines, but it fit pretty nicely, as I said. And I did a hem at the bottom, which folded up really nicely, so I might have to do that on my finished product, depending on how I feel I want to finish it. The back lacing, I had ordered this grommet tape, but I guess it really wasn't that strong because I tight laced this twice, and this is already the damage that has been done, so it's a good thing it's a mock-up. Well, I wouldn't have used it on my final product, but wouldn't want to anyways. The hardest part of my mock-up, I would say, is actually cutting the bones themselves, which I went to this hardware store and actually invested in a rotary tool for cutting them. But another note for improving my channels are quite tight, so I actually had to use tape to cap off my bones because otherwise I'm afraid they wouldn't have fit in there. But that's alright. Practice, 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 I guess. Alright, hey guys, so I'm back. I haven't been making vlogs so much because of the cold weather and I'm in a cold place. Anyways, I've got really exciting news. I just made my first corset. Actually, I am seasoning it right now. This is my first seasoning session and the first time I've worn it. Not really too pretty right now, but I wore my mock-up and it looked really good. So I'm assuming that this is just going to look really good as soon as I can lace it down all the way. I chose a silver, which isn't very forgiving when you have wrinkles, but I'm still pleased with it because it really didn't turn out too horrible considering the difficulty level. And so that's just kind of been what I've been up to. And I'm super excited to wear this because, as some of you may know, I'm going to be attending the Corset Ball in New York, and that's super exciting. So hopefully I'll have this all seasoned and tied down to look my best when I get there. And I'll be sure to vlog about that as well when I actually get there. I'll be going a week with my friend. It's her birthday, so I'm going a week early, explore New York, and then I'll be back and I'll report for you guys. Hi everyone, this is my third day of seasoning. Alright, so I'm kind of trying something a little different this time. Traditionally, when you season your corsets, you're supposed to wear them around 2 hours at a time at a 2-inch reduction for, what was it, 2 weeks or something? Because of my schedule, I find that I prefer to wear my corsets for longer hours at a smaller reduction versus short hours at a smaller reduction for a longer period of time. So I'm just going to try and see if I can season my corset for wearing it longer, so that would be a longer amount of hours over a shorter amount of days at the same reduction as normal. I'm also trying to be really active in my corset, like just going for walks because it's starting to get so nice outside. And I don't think that it'll hurt it by seasoning it this way. This is my first time trying to season it according to my lifestyle, and only the second corset that I've ever seasoned. But I'm really watching this one closely just because this corset kind of likes to fray. So I'm really watching it and making sure that the seams are staying where they're supposed to be and that everything's going smoothly. So anyways, second day working on it. I really hope that I can get this seasoned down in time for the corset ball, but I mean, if I don't, I've always got my blue one I can wear. Okay guys, almost done seasoning my corset here. I'm getting a little worried about it just because it's pulling at the seams, and that would be normal, except for the material likes to reflect all my flaws. So hopefully it won't be too bad by the time the corset ball rolls around. But aside from that, I've got pretty much everything packed and I will be getting on the train tomorrow, so that's going to be super exciting. So anyways, I'll give you a look at what my corset looks like when it's sized all the way down. But other than that, that's pretty much my seasoning for my second corset here. Alright, so this is my corset on the inside. I didn't do a review of my corset before the corset ball because I figured most of what I needed to improve on would show up after I've worn it a couple times. So, this is the inside. All sorts of fun stuff there. And it's still tied, so I can't quite show you all the way. Anyways, we'll start here at the grommets. I might have to put some interfacing in next time I do a grommet panel because even though my grommets are secure, there's still a little bit of a gap between the grommet and the material itself. Most of the inside work that I need to fix is just making sure I tack down all the little loose ends. My seams are pretty close to the edges here, and you can see here that it didn't quite get the silver material even though it got the black material underneath. I did add my extra waist tape for stomach control, and that seems to be working pretty well. And you can see here there's another loose end that didn't quite get tacked down. For my hem, I think it turned out pretty well. It looks very good, but obviously it's a masking tactic to hide all of my loose ends in there. So turning it back out, it held together pretty well for me for the corset ball. But you'll notice, obviously, that it's very wrinkled, and a lot of the stitching is uneven. And that may have been just because I was trying to make sure I tacked everything down. The hem flaws are a little more noticeable on the front because I first sewed down the hems just to make sure that I had tacked everything down. And then when I put on the silver tape underneath, I actually did an even distribution between the whole thing. So at some points there are two separate threads going along the bottom of my corset. Looking back, obviously I could have grabbed better silver material. This material likes to fray a lot. I probably went through a whole bottle of fray stop just trying to make sure that nothing frayed. But you can still kind of see there's a little bit of fray here. It's mostly just along the needle pricks of my sewing lines. If I had chosen a white base material, it probably wouldn't be as noticeable, but as it is with the black material, you can kind of see it a lot. Other than that, very wrinkly, very much prone to fraying, but I still like it. One last thing I wanted to do, I wanted to measure the insides to make sure it didn't stretch, and if it did, that'll give me something else to work on. I originally drafted this pattern to be a 22-inch waist. So we'll see if it holds at 22. Well, it looks to be about 22 3/4, so I must have shrunk it a little bit when I was sewing it, but that's nice anyways considering that my goal was 22-inch waist, and I was able to maintain that for the ball. But even that I'll have to take note of if I ever do commissions. That will just have to be something I improve on as I go along. Thank you for joining me on my corset journey and reviewing my first ever made corset, and we'll see you next time.